Hello, it's Saturday the 12th of September. You're tuned in to our 6 p.m. newscast coming to you from Arirang's news centre in Seoul. It's very good to have you with us. I'm Mark Broome. Our top story this evening, with the planned reunions of families separated by the Korean War a little over 5 weeks away now, South and North Korea are edging closer to settling on the 200 lucky families that will have the chance to see each other again. For a rundown on the next stages in what is a complicated process, Shin Se-min reports.
The two Koreas will exchange the list of candidates for next month's reunion for war-separated families at the truce village of Panmunjom on Tuesday. The Korean Red Cross said it's in the process of whittling down the current shortlist of 500 to 250. This will be completed by Monday at the latest. The process is based on the applicant's health and inclination to take part in the reunions. Priority is being given to the oldest people and those with direct relatives in the north. On Tuesday, Pyongyang will also give the South a list of 200 North Korean candidates. The South's list is larger as it includes 50 family members of South Koreans held as prisoners of war or abducted by the North. Preparations are picking up ahead of steam as the clock ticks down to the reunions, which will be held at the North Mount Kumgang Resort from October 20th to the 26th. The two Koreas agreed earlier this month to hold reunions for 100 Koreans from both sides. Following Tuesday's exchange, South and North Korea will swap letters on October 5th that confirm the surviving separated families. 3 days later, on October 8th, the final list of 100 participants from each side will be exchanged. The reunions are the result of marathon negotiations that lasted nearly 24 hours as the two sides hammered out the date, venue, and number of participants for the reunions. Those talks happened after a landmark agreement last month that brought to an end heightened tension following North Korea's landmine attack at the inter-Korean border that seriously injured 2 South Korean soldiers. The reunions are a highly emotive issue for many Koreans, as millions of people were separated from their families by the 1950 to 1953 Korean War and have had no contact with them ever since. Time is running out as well. Around half of the 130,000 registered family members in the South have passed away without a chance for one final goodbye. Shin Se-min, Arirang News.
A court in Singapore is close to reaching a verdict in a case centred around allegations a Singapore-based firm made payments to a North Korean shipping company and other shadowy North Korean entities. According to US-based website NK News, Chinpo Shipping and its director are accused of making a payment of more than $70,000 to a shipping agent in Panama in 2013 on behalf of a North Korean ship that was caught smuggling arms through the Panama Canal. Now, that vessel is operated by a shipping firm sanctioned by the UN. If found guilty, Chinpo could be fined $700,000. Chinpo is also facing charges related to more than 600 payments made to North Korean entities between April 2009 and July 2013. The sums are said to total more than $40 million. The United States has thanked South Korea for its strong support in the aftermath of the vicious knife attack on the US ambassador to Seoul. The remarks came a matter of hours after the Seoul Central District Court on Friday sentenced Mark Lippert's attacker to 12 years behind bars. US State Department spokeswoman Katina Adams said the support from the Korean government and the people over the past several months demonstrated the deep and enduring friendship between the two countries. 55-year-old Kim Ki-jong was sentenced to the long stretch in prison for attempted murder, violence against a foreign envoy and business obstruction. Lippert required more than 80 stitches to his face and arm after the attack at a brunch function in Seoul in March. A group of Korean Air Force pilots have been taking part in a survival training session aimed at giving them the wherewithal to stay alive in enemy territory. Our Connie Kim was along for the ride, and she filed this report.
A pilot in his parachute fights strong winds and waves in an attempt to make a safe landing in the waters below. This simulation training devised by the Korean Air Force aims at helping pilots learn to survive in the enemy's territory after ejecting from their jets. The pilots' survival battle has started.
The Air Force is practicing ways to safely drag in waters as they separate from their parachutes.
This part of the drill requires pilots to maintain their balance despite a strong current to keep themselves from being dragged underwater by the chute. Next, pilots must move quickly to deploy an inflatable raft. Upon seeing their own troops, they signal their position and launch a flare gun to relay their location to the unit. However, pilots are at risk of drifting in the waters if they're not spotted by their rescue team on time. And this is where the survivor kit, equipped with a compass, multi-purpose pocket knives, and a flashlight comes in handy.
It takes a lot of time and money to train a single pilot. The Air Force carries out intensive survival training for pilots on a regular basis to prepare them for a variety of emergency situations.
Preparing for cases when the pilots' boats reach land, they continue their survival training on land. As part of the drill, the pilots learn how to make fire, find food, and use their boats to make hideouts. It's all part of a 5-day survival training session that took place this week in Namhae County in waters off of Korea's southern coast.
As a pilot, I've gone through numerous training sessions. In my mind, this was all possible with citizen support, both moral and financial. Through this survival training, I have the sense that I'm not only protecting myself, but also the Korean people.
The Air Force carries out more than 10 survival training sessions every year, and pilots must receive this training every 5 years. Connie Kim, Arirang News, Namhae.
It's now day 8 of the search for the 7 people still missing after their fishing boat capsized last Saturday in waters off Korea's southern coast. The Jeju Coast Guard says dozens of naval and Coast Guard vessels and scores of divers have continued to scour the waters around where the boat went down. They've been taking advantage of the relatively good weather conditions in the area. Authorities and even residents of nearby islands have also been searching beaches to see if any bodies have washed ashore. 11 people have been confirmed dead in the sinking. 3 people were plucked from the sea alive the morning after the chartered fishing boat sank. Investigators are still unsure exactly about what caused the vessel to capsize, but they are said to be looking into whether it had undergone any illegal modifications. Now, there's a chance you're watching us on a ultra-high-definition television as the technology has become the established standard for new TVs. They have become so popular that global UHD TV sales are forecast to surpass 30 million units for this year. A new report from tech research firm Strategy Analytics forecasts annual growth will top 60% over the next 5 years as well. The report also shows 95% of people who purchase a UHD TV are highly satisfied with the quality. Strategy Analytics also predicts that more than 20%, 1 in 5, of all households in leading markets will be using Ultra HD services from pay TV or online video providers by the year 2020. And this is great news for Korean firms Samsung Electronics and LG Electronics that are both powerful players in the UHD TV market. At least 107 people have been killed in Saudi Arabia after a crane toppled over in Mecca's Grand Mosque. Officials say the collapse injured around 250 others. The crane belongs to a German company operated by a consortium run by the Bin Laden family, who are heading the expansion of the mosque. Now, Saudi authorities say strong winds and heavy rains are believed to have caused the collapse, but investigations are still ongoing. This incident comes as Mecca is preparing to welcome an estimated 2 million Muslims from around the world for the annual Hajj pilgrimage, which gets underway in about 10 days' time. Now, the recent spike in military tension at the DMZ served as yet another reminder of the instability and division on the Korean peninsula, but an art exhibition in Seoul is trying to offer a fresh perspective of what it's like on the southern side of the buffer zone. Our Park Se-young has the details.
From sound to visuals, this year's Real DMZ project takes audiences closer to the demilitarized zone separating the two Koreas. The sound of insects and birds over the noise of machines was recorded in Cheolwon in Gangwon-do province, which is off-limits to civilians. The audience can also get a glimpse of the forbidden area through 3D images created from the memories of former soldiers.
The scenic nature is accompanied by tension between the divided Koreas. This piece of work compares images filmed from war museums in Seoul and Pyongyang. The two Koreas have a similar yet somewhat different way of remembering and interpreting the war.
Both the museum is very heroic and you can say propagandistic and also claims the victory of the war.
This year's Real DMZ project marked its 4th year with an exhibition titled Lifetime of Dongseong, which highlights traces of the divided Korean peninsula. Artists originally decorated various locations in Dongseong, a small town some 10 kilometers south of the southern limit line of the DMZ, and living example of the state of division. The town was part of North Korea after the Second World War, before becoming part of the South after the Korean War. The works displayed in the borderline area were transferred to Art Sunjae Center in Seoul last month, where they'll be on display through November. Park Se-young, Arirang News.
And finally, leaving you with a brief look at the weekend weather. Most of the country is under partly to mostly cloudy skies this evening, but no rain is in the forecast for the central region at least. It will feel much chillier than recent nights, the overnight low dipping to 11 degrees Celsius in Seoul, so you will need a jacket if you're heading out. Sunday will be bright, sunny and fairly warm with afternoon highs in the low to mid-20s nationwide. With that, let's take a look at the weather around the world. Well, that's all we have for now. Do enjoy the rest of your Saturday wherever you're watching us, and stay tuned to Arirang TV. We'll be back with our next newscast at 10 p.m. Korea time. Till then, goodbye.